What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mina, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel and my safe space on the internet. Today's video, as you can tell by the title, is going to be a week of me basically having my cats pick out my TBR for the week. I'm going to set out my books, the ones that I feel like reading, in like some sort of arrangement, and then I will have a treat next to it or on top of it or something like that, and then whichever one that the cat gravitates towards, that will be the one that I will be reading. I think we'll do between 3 to 5 books depending on how this week goes, because I have a busy week ahead of me, so the maximum is probably going to be 5 books, somewhere between there. And I have 2 cats, so we're gonna have each cat pick a book, and then maybe in the end they can both pick a book, and then maybe they both pick the same book, we'll just read that one, or I'll figure out a way to do it, but so at least it's even, you know? So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing this week. I'm very excited because I feel like it'll be fun to have my cats basically share my channel with me for a video, and you get to meet them. I hope you're as excited as I am, because I'm very excited to have my cats be in this video. And without further rambling and without me talking your ear off, let's get started and have my cat pick out the first book for this week. Okay, so these are the options for the first round of my cats pick my TBR for the week. So we have This Is Where It Ends by, I don't know how to say that name, but that's the tree. And then my iPad is for if I want them to pick, like for me to finish my ebooks that I have on there, because I have a lot of them. And then we have It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover, which is the only one from the duology that I haven't read. And then we have Wildfire by Hannah Grace, who I haven't read either, and the third book is coming out soon. So these are the options. Come in, pick one. All right. Oh, okay, It Starts With Us is the one she went to first. All right, okay, It Starts With Us it is. I've actually been reading for 2 hours, which is ridiculous that I've read for that long, because usually I don't read for an extended period of time without checking my phone. But this book is going by really quick. I am on page 260 out of 320, so I have less than 100 pages left. This is how much I have left, and I don't know how to feel about this book, because I wasn't even going to read it, to be honest. I wasn't really interested. I loved It Ends With Us, and I ended up crying when I finished it. And I read it before it was ever like a TikTok sensation, because I've always been a fan of Colleen Hoover, and she has always written some of my favorite books, like Ugly Love and Maybe Someday. Maybe Someday was the very first book that I've ever read by her, and it changed the trajectory of my reading life. And so for that reason, I absolutely adored Colleen Hoover. And I say that in the past tense because I feel like ever since she got really popular on Book Talk, I think it was the beginning of her downfall. Some people might not think that, but I think that because she used to be a lot more popular than she is now, and a lot more liked than she is now. I don't know what it is with the hating Colleen Hoover situation going on, but I have been watching videos, obviously, because you can't really watch a Book Talk video or a booktube video without coming across a video or two about Colleen Hoover and the way that she basically glamorizes trauma and trauma responses and stuff like that, and domestic abuse. Let's be honest, I read It Ends With Us maybe 3 years ago, 2 years ago at this point, and so I never thought it was glorifying anything. I do see where people are coming from when they say a lot of her books have some sort of traumatic event that happens to the character and then it's glamorized and like painted in a very different light, like the domestic abuse in It Ends With Us and the arson in one of her other books. And there's always something traumatic in one of her books. Every single one of her books has something going on with it where it's a traumatic thing that happens to one of the characters, and it basically is like used as a plot device, and a lot of people don't like that. And so with that being said, I have changed my views on Colleen Hoover. She is no longer my favorite author of all time. I will still read her books. I will still go out of my way to find them and read them because I think she does truly write really interesting stories, and I think she has a way of writing stories that are that should be told and that should be out there. Maybe not in the way that she writes them, but in the way that the topics aren't really discussed. I don't read a lot of books about domestic violence and domestic abuse and stuff like that, and so it was very interesting for me to read that book, It Ends With Us, and I cried, and I even read the acknowledgments at the end because I just loved that book so much. I don't think she's a bad person. I don't think she's a bad author. I just think maybe she should reevaluate the way that she writes the trauma in her books. I forgot how bad it was because obviously I read it a couple of years ago, and some of the things are mentioned in here and I'm like, holy shit, that was really horrendous to read about. Like, genuinely, that was a very traumatic thing for the character to go through, for Lily to go through. I read for 2 hours, and I really didn't read all that much yesterday. I started it and I think I read maybe 20 pages, and then today I sat for 2 hours and I read because her books are just so easy to read. The 2 hours flew by. I didn't check my phone once. I wasn't not interested in this book not once, and I found myself really flying through it, as you can tell. I am enjoying this to a certain extent. It is hard. It is very triggering if you have, like, if domestic violence is a trigger for you, if violence in general, parental violence to kids, like stuff like that, that might be a trigger for you. So definitely be aware of that going into these books because they do deal with that pretty heavily and pretty much in detail. I'm not really too mad at it, but I could have done without, and I think that's my opinion on that. Officially finished It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover, and I am happy to say that I actually really didn't end up not liking this. I actually really liked it. I enjoyed it. I had a good time reading it. I think this might have been even better than It Ends With Us because I feel like this one was a lot more hopeful, and I know that was the theme of it and the reason why Colleen Hoover wrote this. In her acknowledgments, she says that she wrote it because she wanted to give Atlas and Lily a happy ending, and she did do that. She did do what she set out to do, and she did give them a happy ending, and I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I read it really quickly. Like I said, Colleen Hoover's books usually tend to read a lot faster for me than a regular book. This book was 320 pages, and I just finished it this morning at a cafe. I'm giving it between 3.75 stars and 4 stars because I really did enjoy it, but on the other hand, I'm like, why did we do a cash grab about a domestic violence book? Domestic abuse book, you know? Like, I don't really love all of that, and I really did not like Riley in this book because he is so narcissistic and so horrendous and so mean, and like, I just really don't like him. And I was just happy to see Atlas and see Lily. I'm glad that I got it. I'm glad that I read it. I'm glad I can say that I've read the duology and we can move on from there. Okay, I have to use my Snapchat because I ran out of storage on my phone, but we have Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher, which just came out today, and it's a single father's trope. Then we have Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, which came out earlier this week, I believe, or last week. And then we have Wildfire because it's a summary book at a summer camp and I want to read it in the summer. Where will they go? Oh, Wildfire! Okay, Okay. This is the one that they picked out. This is Wildfire by Hannah Grace, the author of Icebreaker. This is the second book in the Icebreaker trilogy. I believe it's a trilogy, but it's like interconnected standalones. This one takes place in a summer camp, which I'm so excited to read because now we are in the summertime and it is really, really hot outside and it's like 90 degrees outside. So this will be the perfect time for me to read this. It's been on my TBR for a very long time. So I'm so glad that they picked this book out. So without further rambling, let's just get on and read this book. I might annotate it because I also annotated Icebreaker and I really loved it. So I don't know if I'm gonna love this one as much, but I'm still excited nonetheless. Wildfire by Hannah Grace, and this one is the edition with the exclusive chapter at the end, which I did not realize until I started this book and I actually looked at the cover. I have had this book on my TBR since it came out. I literally bought it the weekend it came out and then I couldn't get myself to read it. I don't know why, but here we are. And there's also a third book, I believe. It's called Daydream or something like that. Daydreamer, something like that. I believe it comes out next month. At the time that I'm filming this, it's supposed to come out August, so maybe in 2 months. Forget me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I read for a little bit. I am on page... Okay. I'm on page 217, and the page that I just opened on had a spicy scene, so that's why I was a little bit taken off guard by that. This book is about this girl. Her name is Aurora and his name is Russ, and Russ we meet in the Icebreaker book. He is one of the guys on the hockey team, and Aurora is a girl that comes and meets him at this party. They have a one-night stand and then she leaves him because she has issues and he has issues, and he's like the quiet boy and he goes in the bathroom to like give himself a pep talk to ask her out. By the time he comes out, she's gone. She's left him. And then the next day they both show up at this summer camp that they're supposed to be counselors at, and he needs this job and they cannot be together because of the camp rules, and he thinks that she doesn't want him because she left him. And so he's very cold to her and she thinks he doesn't want her anymore because he's cold to her. So there's a miscommunication trope. I'm not loving this as much as I loved Icebreaker. I remember not being able to put Icebreaker down at all when I was reading it, and I read it on ebook, and so I finished it in literally like less than 24 hours. I loved it. And with this one, while I am enjoying it, I feel like I'm liking it a little bit less, even though we did have a cameo of Nate and Stassi from the first book in here, which was so cute. I loved seeing them. I loved seeing their scenes together, and I love Russ and I love Aurora and I love their relationship. I just don't know why it's not clicking with me as much as the first book did, but that doesn't mean that it's bad or that I'm not enjoying it, because obviously I read 218 pages in one sitting, so you know I am enjoying it a lot and it's flying by. I might read a little bit more tonight, I'm not sure, but I am enjoying it and I am really, really liking it. Actually, I love Hannah Grace's writing, and what I didn't know is that her father owns an F1 team, which is so cool because I love F1, and I know that Hannah Grace is also a fan of F1. She's always posting about it on her Instagram, and so it's fun to read about a character who has ties to F1 and like her father owns an F1 team, which is ridiculously cool. So if you like F1, I think you would really enjoy this. Not that it's mentioned a lot or that it's a big plot, but I thought it was such a nice nod to F1. I'll give you my rating when I'm done with it because I want to marinate on it, and once we get to the third act breakup, which I'm sure is in here at some point, then I'll know how I feel completely. But as of right now, I'm really enjoying it. it's up there. It's really a fun summer read. So if you're looking for a good, fun summer read, very easy to get through, then I definitely recommend this one. I am now 303 pages in. This is how much I have left. I believe this book is 380 something pages. Without the exclusive chapter, it's like 386 pages with the acknowledgements. So in total, it's kind of like 400 pages-ish. So I have something like a little less than 100 pages left, and I am enjoying this a lot more. We did get through the third act breakup, I believe, at this point, and I'm still not loving it as much as I loved Icebreaker, but I think this one is still a really, really fun romance, and I think it's very fun if you read it now in the summertime, or like prepping for summertime, like in the months of May, June, July. I think these would be really, really fun to read. Oh my god, if you have a praise thing, if you love praise, you are gonna love Russ, because he is the man when it comes to praise. He's pretty much out there. The spicy scenes in here are so well written, and I love Aurora, and Russ is that guy. He is so cute. He's like the typical shy boy, like quiet, keeps to himself, but then behind closed doors he's completely different, and it might take him a while to trust somebody, but when he does, he's like all in, and he loves Aurora so much. He is so down horrendous for her that he's willing to like talk her down from her anxiety and from her like panic attacks, and when she feels like she needs to go and she needs to run away from what's happening, he basically like talks her down from it and helps her feel better about things. I really genuinely think if you have any sort of anxiety, or if you have any sort of like panic attacks, or if you love praise in general, then I think you would really enjoy this book, and I am flying through it, and I'm definitely going to be finishing this today, which means the cats will get to pick out another book for me today. Hopefully it's Love Unwritten, because I really want to get to it. And imagine reading 2 pink books one after another. I mean, this one is more of like a salmon color, but I kind of consider it pink. I mean, I am using like a pink bookmark, so I'll come back to you when I've finished this book. Officially finished Wildfire. I am giving it 4 stars because I really, really enjoyed myself with this book. This is such a fun romance if you are looking for something that's set in a summery setting. Obviously, it can't get any more summer than a summer camp. I just really, really enjoyed my time with this book. I didn't think that I would love it as much as I did, and I have heard some very mixed reviews when it comes to this book. Some people really like it, some people really don't like it, and I think if you go into it not comparing it to Icebreaker, then I think you would really enjoy it, because on its own it's very strong and it stands pretty well. Like, he's a cute guy, he's very shy, he doesn't really talk to anyone, he kind of keeps to himself. The only people he trusts are his team, and he opens up to her, and she's like severe trust issues, severe like wants to run away the minute that things get bad, and he talks her down. So if you go into it not comparing it to Icebreaker, which I think is pretty hard because the only other book I've read by Hannah Grace is Icebreaker, I think if you go into it not comparing this book to that, then it would be fine. But I compared it to Icebreaker a lot because I loved Icebreaker, and I loved, like, just reading it for the first time felt so different and so much more fun than reading this one. But this one was also really great, and on its own, had I not read Icebreaker by the same author, then I think I would have given this 5 stars, because it was really fun to read, really entertaining, really kept my interest, kept my attention. That is this finished, and now we are going to set up the next setup for the cats to pick the next read for me, and hopefully it's Love Unwritten. I'm manifesting it. I'm putting it out there that they're going to pick Love Unwritten, and then I'll get to read it, because it literally came out like 2 days ago and I still haven't read it, so you know. Here are today's choices. I'm only doing 2 options because I only have 2 treats today. I'm running out, and regardless, whichever one they pick, I'm reading both of them at some point. I'm reading this one. If they pick this one, then I'll be reading this one for a different video. If they pick this one, then I'll be reading this for a different video. So I'm not really concerned about it. Flip them out. Oh, it's looking like Love Unwritten is picked. It's looking like she picked Love Unwritten because she went back to it. So that's the one we're going to be reading. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Have officially started Love Unwritten, and guess what? I have read pretty much halfway through. I'm on page 307 out of 607, so exactly halfway through. This is how much I read. I am eating this up. If you don't know what this book is about, this is the second book in the Lakefront Billionaires series by Lauren Asher, and this one is the second book, and the first book was Love Redesigned, which I read in February in one of my other videos, and I absolutely adored it, and I'm definitely going to be rereading it at some point this year because I just loved it so much, and reading this book has reminded me of why I love that book so much. This book is the second book. As I said 1,000,001 times, this is a single father trope and the nanny. It's about Raphael, Nico, and Ellie, or Eleanor, and I am loving this book so much. I love the way that these books are written. Yes, they're 600, 500 pages. They're huge, ginormous books, thick as hell, but they read very, very quickly. I don't know what it is about these, but I just seem to be eating them up. I remember the first time I read Love Redesigned, I read it in like 2 days, and that's because I forced myself to put the book down and actually go do something else because I didn't want to finish it in one day. Same thing with this one. I am really, really, really loving it up. I've never read a book about a single father trope because I just never thought I would be the one to gravitate towards that trope because it's not for me. I don't like it. I tried to read some other book that I really didn't like, and I just ended up skimming through most of it, and I just thought that the single father trope was not for me, or the single parent trope wasn't for me, but apparently it is because I am loving this book so much. It's Grumpy Sunshine, and you have a child with a disability who is 8 years old or 9 years old. I believe he's 8 years old, and he has like a degenerative eye disease to where he's losing his eyesight, or his eyesight is really, really poor. And you have Ellie, who is an ex trying to be a musician who becomes the nanny, the live-in nanny for Raphael's son, and he fires her one day because something happens, and we just go from there. And it's basically a man groveling, and he loves her, and he doesn't think he can be with her because she's his son's nanny, and she wants marriage and she wants kids. He doesn't want kids, and he doesn't want to get remarried because he's been burned by his ex-wife, severe commitment issues, and she's just like a ray of sunshine that's been through so much, and he's the grumpy dad who just wants to make his son happy, and his son is so cute. Nico is the most adorable thing in the world, and I am really, really, really enjoying my time with this one. I'm going to miss it when it's finished and I have to wait for the third book. I really, 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 really love this book. I'm really enjoying my time with it. I can't say it enough. I think this is Lauren Asher's best series so far, and I'm sure she's only going to get better from here, so I'm so excited to look forward to everything else that she's going to release. And while I didn't love her fine print or the Dreamland Billionaires series because I just DNF'd it from the first book, I am really, really enjoying these, which makes sense because these are her more recent releases, and I can definitely see a change because I read halfway through the fine print and I didn't really click with it or vibe with it as much as I'm clicking and vibing with these. And Raphael is so cute, and I love him, and I love Eleanor, and I love Nico, and I'm so happy to be back in this world, and I'm really severely going to miss it when I finish it. I will probably be finishing this tomorrow. There's no way I will be able to stretch this out over 3 days because I just love this book so much, and it's so easy to read. So while I have 300 pages left and you might think that that's a lot and I won't be able to finish it in one day, I will absolutely be demolishing this tomorrow, and I will let you know my rating and how much I loved it. Officially finished Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher, which is the second book in the Lakefront Billionaires series or trilogy. I'm not really sure how many books it's going to be. I loved this. I ate it up. I obviously loved it because I finished it in 2 days. I finished this in 2 days, 2 sittings, and I couldn't put it down. I love Lauren Asher's writing, and I love this series in general. I think I'm giving this one 4.25 stars because as much as I loved it, I didn't love it as much as I loved Love Redesigned, because that one is my favorite, definitely, and that one got a 5 stars. But this one is a very close second. I love Raphael and I love Ellie. I just love the story and I love being back in this world, and I'm so excited for 2025 when we get the 3rd book in the series, which is about a fake engagement, fake marriage trope, and I'm so excited for it. So yeah, I love this world. I'm always so happy to be back in it, and it feels so nostalgic. Like, I know these people, and this has definitely made me want to reread Love Redesigned, which is crazy because I literally just read it like 5 months ago at this point. I ate them up, and even though they're like 600 pages and they're this freaking big, I'm still gonna read them in 2 sittings because they're just so easy to fly through, and they're so much fun, and they're so steamy and so romantic and so funny, and it's like just all the feels you could possibly have in a book. 4.25 stars, and that is the last book that we are going to be reading in this video. That's the end of this video. Let's rewind to the beginning of the week, and I'll tell you everything that I read just as a refresher, if you will. First, my Cats Picked It Starts Best by Colleen Hoover, and I gave this 3.75 stars. I really enjoyed this one. It was good to be back in this world where I know Atlas and I know Lily and I know Emerson, and it's just so fun to be back in a world that I read about years and years ago and read it with a different mindset and a different outlook on life. I'm glad I read it, even though it was never in my plans to read this book or continue on with the duology. I'm glad that my cats picked this one so I can say that I've officially finished the duology and I don't have to think about it ever again. Wildfire, and this one was really fun. I gave this one 4 stars. If you go into it without any expectations, I think you would really enjoy this one. It's a really fun summer romance. If you're looking for a summery read, then I think this one is really good. If you have a thing for praise and for a person who talks you down from the panic and from the anxiety, then I think you would love Rust. This would probably be my #1 summer recommendation for anybody who might want a summery read that has a little bit of spice in it. And then, of course, my favorite of this entire challenge is Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. I really enjoyed this one. 4.25 stars because I love Raphael and I love Ellie and I love Nico, and I just had the best time being back in this world. We got glimpses of the next book in the series, which I'm so excited for because it's going to be a fake engagement, fake marriage, fake dating plot, which I'm so looking forward to see how Lauren Asher does it. Definitely my favorite out of the 3. Definitely recommend it, and I definitely recommend Love Redesigned if you haven't read it yet. I don't know what you're waiting for. One of my favorite reads of the year, so I definitely recommend that one. Yep. These are the 3 books that I read this week that my cats picked out. I had the best time, and let me know if you want a part 2 of this video because it was really fun to have my cats pick out my reads. It felt like they were taking part of my channel and making their presence known because they are a big part of my life and I love them. They're my children. So let me know if you want to see more content of them. My cats absolutely have an amazing taste in books. Are you kidding me? And yeah, with that being said, that is the end of this video. Let me know if you want a part 2. Let me know if you want a video where my siblings pick my reads, because I think that would be interesting as well. I have 3 siblings, so I could have 3 different books for the week. Let me know if that's something that strikes your fancy by clicking the thumbs up button or letting me know in a comment. And thank you so much for watching. If you watched all the way to the end, that means the world to me. Please have the very best day and treat yourself to something nice, and I'll see you guys again next week with another video. Goodbye!